Hello, this is the RPG Crawler, and welcome once again to an Indie Game Friday, where each week I take a look at a different independent role-playing game. This week I decided to sort through a few recent offerings that provide demos, and in doing so came across Geisterschiff, or The Ghost Ship, which is a cyberpunk dungeon crawler with an extremely stylized presentation. Developed and published by Grave Robber Foundation, it was released on Steam on November 24th, 2018. Das Geisterschiff is a turn-based, grid-step-based dungeon crawler with a single character set in a dystopian future. Its RPG elements are simplified but quite evident, and although it doesn't seem to use a leveling system, your character advances via upgrades for their battle suit instead. The game also seems to rely on much as positioning and problem-solving as straight-up combat. It does offer a demo on Steam, as I mentioned, and this review is based on that demo that offers the first level of the game for play. In terms of plot, in the near future, the Earth has become a wasteland, with the rich ascending into space, while everyone else has to retreat to tunnels under the surface. Two megacorps are in a constant territorial war. The main character has decided to join up with one in an attempt to earn enough money to buy passage off of Earth, and to that end has been given a robotic combat suit to pilot on various missions. Gameplay is thus mission-driven. Each mission, you are dropped off onto a map with a list of objectives. These maps are represented by grid-based squares in a manner reminiscent of dungeon crawlers of old. Both the main character and the enemies move in a turn-based format, although some enemies may gain additional turns in relation to the main character. All play takes place on an exploration map. There's no separate battle screens or anything like that, which means that during combat it can be important to know how to maneuver around the obstacles you've encountered in order to buy time to face enemies or to split them up if you're facing multiple creatures. Exploration is dead simple. You merely move about the map, turning or advancing, or even sidestepping on a step-by-step basis. If you come across a key item or upgrade, you automatically pick it up. If it's an upgrade to your suit, it is automatically installed. Keyed items are automatically used when necessary, which limits inventory management to simply selecting weapons and managing ammunition. There are some objects that require use. These may include doors or computer terminals, but also other objects that you may have to activate or deactivate to accomplish a mission. If you can't open a door, either normally or using a switch, it may be possible to simply break it down by repeatedly bashing into it. You have a scanner function that can be used to evaluate objects at range, which can be incredibly helpful considering how stylized the graphics are. During exploration, you may uncover landmines, basically traps, that appear when you are beside them. Using them will attempt to disarm them. You will also encounter enemies, which take a variety of forms and are represented in the same abstract wireframe graphics as the rest of the world. You have very few main stats that are displayed all on the HUD. The access level tells what level of access card you have available for the purpose of opening doors. DC represents your armor and health, and decreases when you take damage. Reach 0 and you die. Accuracy and evasion are used to determine how easy it is to hit or to be hit. Weight represents how heavy your robot's load is, which can affect what happens when you smash into things, and I presume how fast you move in a turn-based setup compared to the enemies. These may be adjusted by upgrades that you can pick up and install during play. DC upgrades are perhaps the most important, since it functions as health and doesn't automatically repair under normal circumstances. You also have a menu of weapons that you can select depending on the task at hand, each of which has its current ammunition load and how many mags or reloads that you have. You start with access to 4 weapons mountable to your robot: the submachine gun, the laser, the assault rifle, and the bazooka. Each has a different number of shots, damage, and accuracy rating, and each may be useful in different situations. During combat, you can fire your weapon, attempt to move into an enemy which bashes them, or reload your weapon. If you manage to stay out of an enemy's line of sight long enough, they may forget about you and wander off. This can be useful or indeed necessary for handling certain missions. Missions themselves seem to be laid out in a manner that offers a few paths towards an end, and may allow for more exploration than is absolutely necessary to complete the mission in question, which is always a good thing. Puzzle solving seems to be limited to finding switches, terminals, or taking access cards to lock doors to hit more switches. But honestly, that's pretty much what old school dungeon crawlers used on a fundamental level anyway. The simple play and simplified upgrade and stat system does offer a bit of an RPG tone to it, more than some RPG lights that I've covered, and the turn-based gameplay rewards thoughtful movement and strategic thinking. All in all, from a sci-fi dungeon crawler perspective, it's not badly put together. In terms of graphics and interface, the graphics uses a monochrome wireframe display that harkens back to primitive 3D rendering from 80s sci-fi. I thought it was neat looking myself, but I can also see where some might find it a bit unpleasant to look at over time. I will admit that the interface takes a little getting used to, although it's not too complex. The map could stand to show more, as the levels are just large enough that it can be easy to get lost in them without a better overview. The music is an electronic compilation that suits the theme, and the soundtrack, as well as some additional tracks that didn't actually make it into the game, are available to purchase as DLC. All in all, Geisterschiff is an atmospheric little mission-based dungeon crawler that does a good job representing the sort of oppressive, megacore-riddled sci-fi future that it takes place in. I have to admit that although the gameplay isn't bad at all, it's probably not my sort of game, but if you're into the dungeon crawling genre and the cyberpunk genre, it might be worth taking a look to see if it's up your alley, at least the demo. And I will leave it at that. I'll put a link to the Steam page in the description below. This has been the RPG Crawler with Indie Game Friday, Geisterschiff. And if I'm mispronouncing it, I'm so sorry. If you like what you've seen, remember to leave a like, comment if you got any feedback, and subscribe for more RPG content, both tabletop and computer. Until next time, take care and goodbye.